Now, before ending this complete section of some useful operators, I wanted to add a very new topic, that is list comprehensions. This may be used to decrease the amount of syntax that we create while making out a list from another list. So let's jump into list comprehensions. List comprehensions offers a shorter syntax when you want to create a new list based on the values of an existing list. So we have a list that is already present, and from that list I want to create a new list by doing some mathematical operations or some other operations. Then we might be using list comprehensions. The thing which you can do by, let's say, 4 lines or 5 lines, you might just execute it within 1 line using list comprehensions. Now, a sequence operation and list methods. Python includes the more advanced operations called list operation. List comprehensions again offers a very shorter syntax. When we compare out in the next slide, let's jump out. So this is an example where, based on a list of fruits, we want a new list containing only the fruits with the letter A in the name. So let me select it out. So all the vegetables or fruits that we are having, and from this fruits, all the fruits that are having A in them, let's say apple, banana, cherry. Again, cherry is not having any A in it, so we are not going to take this. Then again, kiwi is not having any A, mango is having A. So we are going to create a new list out of this list of fruits, and we are going to add it out in new list. So without list comprehension, you will have to write a for statement with a conditional test inside. So let's look into this native way before we jump into list comprehension. In this native way, we have a fruit list and we have a new list. This new list will be containing all the new fruits that are having A in them. We will initialize for. So for loop will be initialized in the first line. So for x in fruits, so one by one it will iterate inside the fruits list. Okay, so we are going to take this one, this one, this one, this one by one. We are going to go. We are going to check if it is having A in it. So in our last session of random, when we are learning about random, we have looked into in and not in. So we are going to use the same concept over here. If A in x, so what is x? So let's say fruits. First in the first iteration, apple will be present in x. So x equals to apple. It will check if A in apple. Okay, so I'm going to write it out. A in apple. It is going to check if the character A is present in apple. If A is present, then it will do? It will append x into my new list. So it will iterate over all the items, and then at the end it will be printing out the new list, which is the output is quite similar to this: apple, banana, mango. All of these three are having A in them. Now, if we want to do this using a list comprehension, we can do all of these using a single line. What we are doing in this 3 lines over here, it can be converted into one single line using list comprehensions. Again, let's check out this list comprehension method. We have fruits. This is quite the same list that we were having in the native way. Now we are creating a new list. New list is equal to x for x in fruits. Okay. So this is the syntax of it. For x in fruits, it is for iterating inside the list, and in the same line I am writing if A in x. So if A is present in x, so after iteration, that one after the other, one of the fruits will be assigned to x, and then we are going to check if A is present in x. If A is present in x, then x will be transferred into new list, and one by one it will be appended. So all of these 3 lines are converted into one single line. That is by using list comprehension. Now, one more very important thing that you should be knowing, that the execution speed of list comprehension, that is this line, is much faster, much faster than the native way where we are using for and if block. So let's jump into Jupyter Notebook and get into some of the examples that we can code. Back to where we left in our last random module. So let's start with list comprehension. Let's create a new section for list comprehension. So let's start list, that is list comprehension. Let's change it to markdown and create some new cells out of it. So we have some cells for implementing our list comprehensions over there. Let's start with our very first example. We are going to grab every letter in a string. Okay, so you can use a for loop for that. That is, you will be getting using an iterator, and one by one you are going to get out the values. Or else what we can do is we can use list comprehension. Let's first look into some of the examples by which we can execute it by a for loops. Let's execute it using a for loop. So I am having a new list that will be empty. Then I'm going to create for let's say char in, I'm having a word, and then what I can do is new list dot append, and inside of this I have to write char. If I check my new list, print new list, let's check it out. Let's zoom it out a bit. Let's remove all the header. Okay, so this is how we want the output. So right now we are using 3 lines of code. We can just convert each and everything into a single line using list comprehension. So let's change it using list comprehension. So this is my list, lst equals to, as we want to create a list, so list will be having square brackets. Now x for x in word. Let's execute it out, and if I check my list over here, so it is the same thing which we are having above. So right now what we are doing is, let's change it x, let's change x to char, just to clear out or to correlate with the above example of for. So we are taking one character at a time, that is from using the for loop, and assigning it to lst. So we are doing the same thing what we have done above. Above we have done it using 3 lines. Over here we are doing it in a single line. Moreover, this is much more faster than your native for loops. Okay, so make sure try to use more and more of them. Now this is the basic idea of list comprehension. Okay. If you are familiar with mathematical notation, this format should feel familiar. For example, x to the power 2, let's say x to the power 2. If you have gone through the mathematical operation, so x to the power 2 colon x in 0, 1, 2 till 10. It's quite similar to this. Okay. If you are just okay with your mathematical operations, okay, this is how you can do it. Okay. So we are doing, the ideology is taken from this concept itself and applying it over here. Let's see few more example of list comprehension in our next video.